Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comedian and host of Bachelor Recap, a Guy's Review. Happy Monday morning, everyone. You hanging in there? Happy New Year's. If you haven't seen me before, like I said, I'm a comic and I recap the Bachelor franchise. I talk about some activities happening in the Bachelor world, partly because it's a common denominator. It's a water cooler place for us to talk about life. And today I wanted to talk about Garrett and Becca. You see my little backdrop there, Garrett and Becca, looking pretty nice with this green screen. I know. Thank you very much. Garrett posted something on Instagram that's sort of like a manifesto about who he is and what he believes in, and I wanted to get into that. If you don't know who Garrett is and Becca is, bless your soul. Good for you. You're not missing out on much. Becca was a finalist. She was engaged to a man named Ari. He broke up with her, blindsided her, and then she became the Bachelorette months later. Very quick turnover there, and she ended up choosing Garrett. Garrett proposed to her. They became engaged. It was happy. And then some things came out about Garrett's past. He had liked some racist or racial photos, depending on how you want to defend it or not defend it. Let's call them racial jokes. Insensitive at the very least, dealing with immigrants and the wall. And there are a few different things that came out that he had liked, which in today's world, if you like something, on Instagram, that's enough. That's enough to get the public's attention as someone in the public eye. Did he do it a few years ago? Has he changed his opinion? Was he liking a buddy's comment? That's past my pay grade. I'm not sure. But because of this, it kind of started to expose him as having different political leanings as Becca. Becca is far more, I would say, liberal, and he's got conservative values. As you'll see from some of the photos I'm going to show on his Instagram page, he's a hunter, and he's wearing a lot of camouflage. Nothing illegal about that, folks. Be that as it may. He's had to answer for a lot of his past. He apologized, and then he tried to defend All Lives Matter, which theoretically, all lives do matter, but that's not a saying to counter the Black Lives Matter movement. If you need me to get into all this, leave a comment, but Black Lives Matter exists because of a lot of hardships racially that the black community has had to deal with, at least in the United States. I can't speak for anywhere else, but here in the U.S., they have been sort of just, through the criminal system, the racist prison. It's not equal out there, folks. So while, yes, all lives do matter, we're not going to have that debate between all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, and he missed that mark there. I can't go down the line on all of the different things, but basically he was given the chance to just apologize and shut up, and that's important. It's important sometimes to go, you know what? That thing I liked a few weeks ago or last month, I now understand why that was wrong, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to do a little bit more listening. And that's important to just listen because it gives you a chance to just shut up and let someone else talk, educate you. That's it. No crime. Problem is, a lot of times, here's what happens psychologically. Not always right, but the ego, it is a sensitive thing. You talk about male fragility. Sure, of course. I'll speak on that all day long. So I can't speak for Garrett, but maybe he felt like he was outed, and maybe he felt like the pendulum swung too far to knock his balls down, and the crime didn't fit the punishment. I mean, again, maybe he felt that way, maybe he didn't. So anyway, he wanted to release this manifesto. And again, I say manifesto. I don't mean it in some sort of sinister way. A manifesto, a written statement declaring publicly the intentions, motives, or views of its issuer. So let's get into what he said. So here we are. We got his Instagram. And like I said, I mean, come on. The guy, look, he's a hunter. He seems like a nice guy. What are you going to, you can't, in today's world, we're so politically charged that you look at that and you go, oh, he's bad news. No, the guy likes to hunt some quail. I don't know. Look, he's happy. He drives a boat, whatever. He's living his good life. As the yoga enthusiast, I'm just living my good life, I'm working on myself. So he felt the need to leave a little statement, start of the new year, and I fully support that. Tell everybody where you stand. Now, look, it's important for us to remember it's not just about words and where you stand. It's about the actions you take. So his relationship didn't work out with Becca, and I just wonder... I've done podcasts about this, and I've had this wonder before where I was, wonder if it wasn't for the public light, no one would have known about his past, and maybe Becca would have rubbed off on him and showed him some new ways to be empathic that he didn't have, to show empathy. Maybe Maybe that would have happened. Maybe it wouldn't have, and we'll never know. The butterfly effect is done. It's happened, and who knows? But anyway, so this is what he said. Since many of you have been DMing me lately about life, my thoughts and things from 2020 and 2021, here you go. Death is the only guarantee in life. The process of dying begins as soon as we're born, but we experience life as we know it until our number is up. All right. When I said he was going to make a manifesto, I didn't know he'd be doing it from, conception over here. There are winners, losers, and not everyone deserves a trophy. I agree with that. I'll take this line by line. I agree with that. Not everyone deserves a trophy. He's against participation trophies, which I think is overblown. I think we have a meritocracy. I think people that work hard, achieve success, and people that don't. The thing we should all agree on in life is we should all want equal opportunity, not equal outcome. I think it's fair to say we should all want equal opportunity. I wonder if, and I don't want to place words in his mouth, I wonder if that's what he's referencing. But we should all be okay with equal opportunity. But not everyone should get a trophy. Regardless of skin color, we're all made of the same flesh and bone. I agree with that. That is kind of his way of saying all lives matter, which I'm not saying that because I understand the ramifications that come behind that. But I agree. We're all made of the same flesh and bone. We're all humans, universe, one song. We all should empathize with who we are and the connections we have. Although our blood types vary, it's still red when we bleed. Sure. There's good, bad, evil, jealousy, sadness, happiness, tough times, depression, grief, challenges, and much more that we all face. Absolutely. We lean on each other to conquer, battle, and adapt to figure life out to survive. You can't always be right because then no one would ever be wrong. Interesting. So what he's saying is, look, you're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to make mistakes. I agree with this. Question is, if you are wrong, do you own up to it? Opinions seem to be offensive. It's not safe to make jokes unless you're a comedian. Well, there's something called punching up and punching down. I'm going to tell you this as a stand-up comedian. I'm going to comedian-splain to you. You're allowed to punch up. You can't punch down. Punching down might be funny, but what it means is you value the thing you're punching down so little that you don't respect it, and therefore it doesn't even matter. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was to roast somebody in the audience, I could roast the good-looking guy who's with the girlfriend, and I could make fun of him all day long. But if there's like an overweight guy in the audience, and I'm like, hey, listen, fatty. No, that's punching down, not up. If there's a guy in the audience who's dressed really nice, I could be like, look at this rich guy over here. You know what I mean? We got the 1%. And then it's like, okay, you just have to know what you're making fun of. Joking is good, but there is a strategy to how you joke. I hope this makes sense. So if you're making fun of, say, a Mexican guy trying to climb over the wall, technically, because he's trying to climb to freedom from whatever in this image that we're talking about, you're punching down on him from your place of freedom. And that's kind of like, ugh, you know what I mean, bro? You got to be careful. It's hard to make jokes. It's hard to make things funny, The good people do it. They make it look so easy. And then you go, oh, you can't make a joke unless you're a comic. It's like, no, comics have worked their jokes out. I've said very offensive things in comedy clubs, and then I've said it offensively until I made it funny. And then when it's funny, when you get an audience of people to laugh, it's like, okay, I have tons of jokes about feminism, but I make fun of it from my place where like I go, oh, my fiance makes more money than me, which makes me a feminist. You know what I mean? I got to go down on her just so she'll buy me dinner. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Clean off the plate, folks. But you can make jokes. So I disagree with what you're saying. Republicans must be racist. The First Amendment must only apply to Democrats. And I suppose if you're a libertarian, you're too scared to pick a side. This is where it's like, all right, bro, you're immediately getting divisive. Like you got to give, and I say this to both sides, you got to give people more credit than this. All Democrats aren't bad. All Republicans aren't bad. There's just people on either side that want to cancel the other. And some might say, oh, the Democrats want to cancel you more. Maybe on Twitter, there's a left-leaning group that's trying to cancel you. But I think 90% of the people exist somewhere in the middle. So you need to give less weight into that people trying to cancel you. And what they tell you, as a comic, they say, don't apologize for something you're not sorry for. But in your case, if you're liking sort of racist, Instagram posts, just apologize. I mean, just find a way to understand how it's offensive and then just apologize and move on. And if you can't find out how it's offensive, then stand by it, but you just don't be in the middle. Beer is more enjoyable, ice cold. I agree with that, except if it's a nice beer. I know my friends, when I travel Belgium, they say a nice beer served warm. They actually like the head on the beer. They can taste it better. But I agree. I like a cold beer. I'll say this to make an amendment to what you're saying, that more beer is more enjoyable, ice cold. I think the worse the beer, the colder it has to be. growing up, in college, we used to drink Jenny Light, which was $9.99 for a 30-pack. It made Keystone Ice look like a top shelf beer. And the colder you can make that Jenny, the quicker it went down. Jenny Light, leave a comment. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. I think it's a New York beer, maybe Rochester. Boy, if you want a cheap beer, you go to Rochester, New York. Restaurants can have mandated outdoor dining that is enclosed by 4 walls. What does that have to do with anything? Restaurants, look, I'm not going to get into the COVID protocols because it varies state by state, so I'm just going to move right past that. Because here in Los Angeles right now, you can't go inside to a restaurant, and then some people have outdoor seating, but it's like inside. And it's like, I feel like the outdoor seating means there has to be like a breeze that can blow by. No point in putting a tent outside and zipping it up. I think it's about not having, stagnant air. I digress. Your body, your choice, unless it's a vaccine. Interesting. Your body, your choice, unless it's a vaccine. So what's he saying? Is he saying he's pro-choice? It sounds like he's saying he's pro-choice, but it also sounds like he's saying you should get a vaccine, but I kind of feel like that's not what he's saying. I can't technically judge what he's saying here because your body, your choice, unless it's a vaccine. Is he kind of like, again, I hate to put words in people's mouth and it's hard to have context, but I think what he's saying as I talk this out, your body, your choice, unless it's a vaccine, is that he doesn't like people that are pro-choice telling people to get vaccines. In which case, I think I agree with pro-choice. If people choose to keep I don't see why pro-choice is a problem. A lot of people I know that say they're pro-life end up being pro-choice when you break it down to them. A lot of people go, and again, you let me know in the comments, a lot of people go, look, I'm pro-life. If someone else wants to choose to have an abortion, that's on them. And then I go, so you're pro-choice. And they go, well, yeah, I guess. And it's like, well, then that's what it's like you could be pro-choice and still never want to get an abortion. It's about the woman's right to choose. And of course that comes with a doctor who they signed the oath of to never hurt anyone, right? Isn't that the oath they signed? So a doctor's not trying to kill babies. I digress, folks. Well, what if they have it in the third trimester? Oh, there's so many hospitals that are like Christian run that you can't get an abortion, and it's already a stillborn fetus, and then the wife can get sepsis and die, and it's like, get the thing out. I'm going to get some comments for that. But the point is that in most cases when we battle left versus right, pro-choice, pro-life, the problem exists on these fringe hypothetical situations. And it's like, life doesn't always revolve around the fringe. It's like pro-choice is about giving people, autonomy over their body. When did I have to become the feminist here? Moving on. Your body, your choice. Okay, if you're a social influencer, you're apparently a politician and should tell people which way to vote. And if people don't follow your agenda, then block, ignore, delete. Look, everyone has the right to follow who they want to follow. I understand it's frustrating if people that are people that gain followings then have to have a political platform. As we saw this past week with the issue in the Capitol, there was plenty of people that didn't want to, that were mad that Chris Harrison and Hannah Brown and different people didn't comment on it. And it's like everyone can do whatever they want with their platform. You can decide to follow them or unfollow them. So not everyone has to be a politician if you have a platform. And if Garrett, if you don't want to use your platform to talk political, totally fine. You're just throwing gas on the fire with your manifesto right here. Totally fine. You're allowed to do that. If people don't believe your beliefs, they are entitled to unfollow you and just take it on the chin and go out hunting. Food tastes better when enjoyed with good company. I agree. Unless it's Chinese food. I want to eat that alone watching Netflix. We have learned to hate people without ever getting to know them or meeting them. I agree with that as well, Garrett. I suppose I could have a good conversation with Garrett. I think I could go out fishing with him, crack a couple cold beers, enjoy food with good company, and be totally fine. Is that a place of privilege for me? Maybe. But maybe we just put people's hardcore beliefs and, tattoo them onto them and judge them for those beliefs versus understanding we're all flawed and we all have ignorance. And sometimes we don't even know what we believe. We're just sort of passing down whatever was told to us. That happens too. I've gotten that in my own family. People that it's like, geez, when did you grow up thinking that? It's like, well, I don't know. That's what my dad told me. As humans, we just want to sort of exist within our community and not make too much noise. That's just what we want. So if you're born in a red state, you have higher chances of growing up Republican. And if you're born in a blue state, vice versa. And if you traveled, that's just how it is. So you can't judge 49% of the country for having different beliefs as you. The best we can do is just show kindness. And maybe when you're on that fishing trip, you can go, look, bro. And if I'm hanging out with Garrett, I go, look, bro, as a comic, I want to tell you why that joke doesn't work. And I want to tell you what jokes you can make. Or maybe you start with a self-deprecating joke and you make fun of your beard and you make fun of your hunting buddies, and then maybe you can make fun of somebody else, but you got to take yourself down to a level and not hold yourself above people as you punch down. I know that's kind of technical, but what I'm saying is if we just like cancel people out of our lives, we don't get to have these conversations. And we're so politically heightened that we'd rather just be like, delete, unfollow. And sure, like do whatever you need to do for your sanity. But I think for the global, or at least the communal good, I think what we need to do is just listen more, understand. You're trying the best you can. You're trying to put food on the plate for your family just like I am for mine. So if we have a few different differences, we're not all senators out there. Our beliefs aren't changing lives, but you have a platform. You need to use it for good. Well, you don't get to tell people what they get to do with their platform. You can grow your own platform, okay? That's it. You grow your own platform and you bring people into your church. Respect seems to be a thing of the past. I don't know if respect ever existed. Social media just magnifies disrespect. I don't think it ever existed to the extent that you're saying. Wait, what respect was a thing of the past? Do we respect people in the during the civil rights movement? We're hosing people down in the streets? We didn't respect people. That's a place of privilege. I would take that part out. Chivalry isn't dead. All right, I don't know. Patriotism does exist. Sure, but there's a difference between patriotism and nationalism, right? Patriotism, it's like freedom, and it sucks that like there's a lot of people that can't even identify with the American flag because it's kind of used to like it's like, if you ever see a news site with the bald eagle, you're like, oh, this is about to be interesting. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand freedom, but we live so isolated amongst the rest of the world. We do. We live so isolated in our bubble that we're like, USA. And it's like, yeah, but our country's no better or worse than anyone else, just like you and I are no better or worse than anybody else. We pay double for healthcare than other first world countries, and we get less for it. Okay, so we're not just great. It's about criticizing the country so it can become better. And that's patriotism. Being able to criticize the country with our First Amendment, that's patriotism. So it's not all like, oh boy, you're either with us or against us. It's like, no, there's a lot of people out there marching because they want equality and they want the country to be better, not worse. So when you say patriotism does exist, so does nationalism. And so does the idea that your country's better than everyone else. And newsflash, we're not. We're not better. Get out there and travel. We are the same as everyone else. We're trying our best. And in some ways, we do better. And in some ways, we do worse. But by all means, we do have an issue with patriotism in this country. Because by saying like USA #1, undefeated World War champs, it's like, bro, then we're just going to be bulldoze everybody. What about the whole, with globalization, we're all kind of interconnected. People are laughing at us, man. Conservation isn't murder. I don't really know the backstory of that one. People demand more by wanting to do less. That's also like saying people are lazy, and that I don't think, I think that's a knock on social democracy, which is the idea that we should all be pooling our money together for services. That's like, the national parks, which by the way, it's probably hypocritical. He's probably like hunting in national parks, and it's like socialism, social democracy is what pays for them to keep these parks nice. You know what I mean? And I think the idea with with him saying, people demand more by wanting to do less. That's the whole like idea, like welfare queens. It's like, oh, people don't want to work. It's like, no, people want to work, but sometimes it's like the work that they're doing is so low end and backbreaking that it's almost better not to do it at all. Like we need a country where people can like feel like they're building wealth, and the middle class is gone. And it's all bought and sold by, this rich elite who like control all of the politicians. And I think people on the left and the right can both agree with that. So the idea of like social democracy isn't about raising your taxes. It's about taxing the people that aren't paying $1, taxing the companies that are making billions during a pandemic. It's about like getting the money back to the working class. That's what it's all about. It's not about people not wanting to work. Everybody wants to work. Everybody wants to feel like they accomplished something. They just want to feel like they actually have a chance. The harder we work, the more our government takes. I think it's actually the opposite. I think the wealthier people are, the more they're able to dodge and avoid taxes. So I could be wrong, but I feel like the lower middle class probably has the hardest off. So the harder we work, the more our government takes. That's kind of getting, that now it's starting to get manifesto. Owning your own business means sharing it with the government. Everyone pays taxes. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Steak is better rare. I like it medium, but I understand I could get some heat for that. Yeah, a good steak, I guess I could do medium rare, but If it blades, it lades. Life isn't fair. I believe in karma. I believe while life might not be fair in some ways, I believe it all kind of irons itself out. I think for the most part, it's pretty fair. I think if you're a good person, good fortune will come to you. Yeah, I do. I disagree with you on that one. You can always change your mindset. I agree with that. Maybe you'll decide life is fair. Happiness comes from within. I also believe in that. The only thing we can control in life is our reactions to others. So you can control that. You can always change your mindset. Oil doesn't change itself in your car. Okay. Cops do choose their careers. What does that mean? Cops do choose their careers. I thought he got in trouble for being a Blue Lives Matter person. And the big argument between Blue Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter is that black people don't choose the color of their skin, but cops do choose the career they work in. So I don't know what he means by cops do choose their careers. But that sounds like a neutral statement because I can't tell politically what he's saying. And again, I might be wrong with some of the things he's saying, and I would apologize for that. I'm trying very hard to give both benefit of the doubt and break things down. No one can change their skin. True, unless, you could bleach it, I guess. Look at Sammy Sosa. What the hell happened? Michael Jackson, do things the right way the first time. I like that. Bad weather shouldn't keep you from remembering that the sun is always shining above. Very good. He's ending on a high note. Lastly, never let anyone take away your smile and always wear sunscreen. Always wear sunscreen is a very white person thing, and I totally agree. I'm 35. Jeez, I got to put some sunscreen on this nose before I look like some old guy with, capillaries popping out of my face. Look. We just did a political train wreck over a lot of different things there. I think for the most part, a lot of his ideas are what a lot of people think. It's like everything, people mean well, have a good mindset and all that. And I think hopefully, whatever defensiveness he got from a public shaming, and he got a good public shaming for what it's worth, folks. He lost his relationship, and you might say, he was in charge of that, and that's fine too. But it's not like it didn't happen. So, I like to track guys like him just to be like, hey, what's he up to? I like to look for the good in people. I hope you guys do too. If you like this video, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of people are going, you know what, F him. We don't need him in his life. It's like a lot of people are like him in this world. You can't go unfollowing everybody. Let's learn about each other's differences. But I will push back again. I'll get defensive. That Democrats just want to cancel everybody. Twitter is 10% of our country, and only like 1% of Twitter actually comments on things. So you might think it's crazy when you get 1,000 hate tweets, but that is just a deck off of a deck chair off a cruise ship or whatever they call it. It's nothing. Learn to avoid it. Be a good person, and karma will work itself out. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.